Hey folks, this is old Tim back to you. I just wanted to come talk to you a minute. I'm outside having a fire. Sometimes when I can't get to the country, I come outside and build a fire. It kind of makes me feel like I'm, out in the woods. Sometimes city life gets a little tough. Man's got to get to the woods to lose some of that stress. I had to move my chair a moment. I was getting a little too much smoke and couldn't breathe. Anyway, I want to talk to you a little bit about developing integrity and character. Many years of my life when I was younger, I didn't have a lot of integrity. I did have lines I wouldn't cross, but when I came to the Lord in 1981, then God began to develop character traits in me that began to strengthen my resolve and my character and give me boundaries that I would not cross. And basically, to be a man, a true man, you need to have integrity. Without it, you're going to fall when temptation comes, and you're not going to be able to withstand the onslaught of the enemy. Anyway, old Ben Franklin, he wasn't a real religious man, but he believed in God, and he had 13 virtues that he... back to old Ben Franklin. He came up with about 13 virtues that he felt like in order to be virtuous, a person had to have at least these 13 virtues active and practicing in their lives to be virtuous. So he made a little ledger, and he would keep it in his coat pocket, breast pocket, and he would make little tick marks. He had like these 13 virtues listed. He had days of the week listed, and he would make little tick marks when he felt like he failed one of those virtues. So here's a list of the 13. Number one, he felt like he ought to be temperate in his eating and his drinking. He should keep silent as much as possible. Listen more than you speak. Maintain order in your life and your daily living. Make sure you had resolve to perform the duties that you ought to every day. Fragility, to make no excuse to others for your own failures or for you wasting time. Be industrious, basically lose no time. Always be employed, doing something useful, serving others, and you would become prosperous. Cut out anything that's unnecessary in your daily activities. Sincerity, always try to walk with others without deceit and hurtfulness. Always be kind and gentle where you could. Always walk with integrity, honesty, and justice. He also believed in justice. Do no one no wrong. Do not be a willing participant of injuries or at the expense of others so that you might have benefit. In all things, be moderate, avoid extremes in all cases, forbear the weak, always be clean. He couldn't tolerate uncleanliness in the body with the abundance of soap and water of his day. Walk with tranquility. Do not be disturbed by trifles. Also give to charity. That is, walk in love and give to people that are serving the downtrodden, the hungry, the down and outers. Always try to help those that are weak or in a lower status than you are. And number 13, walk in humility. Do not be arrogant. Walk as Jesus walked. Take a look at that fire again. Isn't that nice? I may try to cook something out here in a little bit. I do have a skillet standing by. I'm kind of a guy that likes to try to keep the old ways alive, so a couple of months ago I made some sauerkraut. I'll show it to you. Here it is. Homemade sauerkraut. It's raw. You do have to be careful with it because it can grow mold if you don't do it right. It has to be completely under the saline water and needs to stay there about 30 days is good, and then you need to put it in a jar and then put it in the refrigerator. And you don't have to cook it. It'll keep in the refrigerator for many, many months. Let's take a listen to the quiet. There's a few dogs barking in the background, but it's relatively quiet out here. The other day I was leaving work and I cut through Restland Memorial Graveyard over in Richardson and saw one of the biggest coyotes I'd seen in the city. Actually, the biggest coyote I'd ever seen. He was just standing there watching me. Well, I was fumbling trying to get my camera out, and by the time I got it ready, he was trotting off. But anyway, I think he lives out there on the back of that property because there's a creek back there, there's some woods, and there's an abundance of little rabbits living out there on that green. So that was just a peculiar sight to see. With suburbia moving out further and further out, is pushing a lot of those animals into the interior. We just got back off a trip from Louisiana deer hunting. And one of the people down there apparently killed a 1,100-pound boar. Biggest thing I'd ever seen. They had a photograph of it. They had to pick it up in a front loader on a tractor and haul it to the camp so they could skin it out and dress it. Anyway, that was a scary little character to see. I would hate to run up on that in the wood. Anyway, back to character building. You know, that's a constant fight because we have that lower nature in man that's constantly wanting to take us to